Hello snowboarders of the internet, I am your host TC, and today I will be reviewing the Ride Benchwarmer. They are stiff, aggressive, asymmetrical twin board. This board is equipped with Ride's twin extra camber. So what that is you're gonna have rocker right about at the contact points on the nose and the tail here, and then you're gonna have a large camber zone from the middle of your feet all the way out to those points. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna give you all that precision, pop, and drive with that long camber zone. And then with that rocker, it's gonna allow you to get in and out of turns a little bit easier. Also help with pressing on rails and buttering as well. The Benchwarmer comes in a 142, 147, 151, 154 wide, 155, 157 wide, 159, and a 161 wide. I rode this board at Steamboat Springs Resort where it was a beautiful day, Bluebird, where it started off a little chilly, brisk in the morning, but as it went on, it did get nice and warm. Got to that hero snow about halfway down the mountain. If you stayed up top, it did stay a little bit firmer, but you could still lay an edge into it. And as you made your way down to the park there, to the half pipe, it did get nice and soft where you could mess up a little bit and not pay the price for it. I used my Ride Fuse boots and my Jones Mercury bindings. As I already mentioned in this video, this board is definitely on the stiffer side of things when we talk overall flex on it. I can't truly call it a stiff board because it does have rocker in the nose and the tail, which feels like it softens it up just a slight bit there. But you can still foot steer this thing. I did figure out that it does foot steer a little bit better at high speeds. So just keep that in mind. If you're just kind of cruising on a cat track, it's not going to be the most foot steerable thing out there. And in between your feet, it does feel a little bit stiffer as well, just because you have that large camber zone there where when you press into it, it presses right back. Now when we move over to the stability, it is a very stable board. Take this thing with speed wherever you want and it's going to hold up for you. The one thing I will say though is because it has this glass top sheet on it, it's not going to be that classic Ride dampness to it. You feel a little bit more of those vibrations coming through, but you don't feel everything. So it's not like your feet are falling asleep or anything like that. It's still a nice cruisy ride. This board is awesome when it comes to popping and taking it off jumps really, where you can load this thing up and really get that full tail to snap and just send you to the moon, or you can just ollie it at the last second and get a little pop out of it. I definitely recommend loading it up, especially when you're going to the jump line. You can really take it to any size jump and it's gonna handle it just fine. I absolutely love this thing in the pipe as well. I was able to keep my speed through the flat section and really pop off the lip there. And it felt really good on the landing where I was able to set an edge and keep all of my speed into the next jump or into the next hit in the pipe. Now when it does come to landing just off of rollers and that sort of thing, if you do land a little backseat heavy, it's totally fine. This tail is stiff enough where it will bring you back down. You don't really notice that rocker section in it. And the same goes for when you're spinning. You can really dig in this contact point, that back contact point for yourself, whichever side it is, but you can really dig that in and get full twist out of it where it's not going to wash out on you or anything like that. Overall, this board really feels like it is made for just ripping jumps and just popping every side hit you can find when you're riding all mountain. While I have you, make sure to like, subscribe, click that bell, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our scheduled programming we have coming out. For how stiff and responsive this board is, it pretty much butters exactly how you'd expect. There is that rocker zone in the tail and the nose, so that does help you, and that's where your sweet spot's pretty much gonna be on it. When you finally do get it on that sweet spot, you'll notice you're gonna be shifting your weight quite far back, where I had mine pretty much at this contact point. But that being said, when you do pop out, there is loads of pop there. So when you wanna spin out of a butter or anything like that, it's no problem. It pretty much does it for you. You just got to shift your weight, shift your hips, and you're all good to go. Now, when you take this thing on rails, I would definitely recommend speed is your friend here, where I had a little bit of a problem when it came to tail pressing and nose pressing this on rails and ledges, just because it felt like it was fighting me a little bit more than I actually felt comfortable with. That being said, once I rode it for a few laps, I finally got the hang of it. I mean, they weren't the prettiest presses out there, but they got the job done. I'm not gonna submit it for any photo shoots, but you know, it'll still work. When you are sliding this thing sideways, because you do have such a large camber zone in between your feet, it grips the rail really well. I didn't have any problems with it clanking on and trying to shoot me off. It felt like it absorbed that rail really well. I would say if you are coming from the top ropes, just be prepared. It might load up a little bit more, but I didn't really have a problem with it there. Because this board is asymmetrical, it carves extremely hard, especially on that heel edge, where on regular twin boards, you might feel a little bit lag there, where you might skid the turn and then engage that edge. This thing is just full engage from the get-go. Super fun, especially on those short, quick carves, so when you are approaching rails or ledges, it's really easy to get on that edge, find the right line, and really just capitalize there. When you get to those medium and larger carves, you can really open it up and just have a good time on it. It doesn't really have a top speed that I found on it, so really feel free to open it up. If you do get into those bumpy situations on it, just stay a little bit lower and you're gonna be just fine. It'll hold an edge throughout, especially with this slim wall, it just cuts right through. It will Euro carve on the toe side and the heel side, so don't be afraid to press that pickle, drag that ass, do any of that. This thing will hold that edge for you. The rider for this board is somebody that really wants to go hit all the big features in the park, but when that gets all blown out, you got all those ski families in there just causing havoc and just being extremely unsafe, you decide to go turn the mountain into your park. They want to go fast, they want to be able to hold an edge, and they just want this board to perform as well as they do. Patreon, go check it out, angrysnowboarder.vip. This board is the big brother to the Zero, which I absolutely love the Zero. You guys know that if you've seen my review on it. And this board is just as awesome as it. I like this board a little bit more for that all mountain riding. For my personal style, I don't really like going and hitting those big Olympic sized jumps all the time, so not really for me on that one. But this thing is super fun. It's got the stability that I want. If I just want to pretty much turn that whole mountain into a freestyle zone. I mean, I think this is what they wanted the Helix to be, but it missed the mark and they definitely picked it up on this one. I love what they've done with it. It's a really fun board, and if you're looking for something nice and stiff and responsive that's got great pop to it, this could be your board. Comparable boards: the Nitro Beast, the K2 Hypnotist, and the Jones Tweaker Pro. Recommended bindings: the Ride C8, the Jones Mercury, and the Rome Katana. As always, guys, I've been your host TC, and this has been my review of the Ride Benchwarmer. If asymmetrical boards just don't sound like your thing, why don't you go check out one of the reviews we have for the comparable boards.